Okay, so we are here today talking to Andria Antoniou. She's a singer, and this is part of the Fire Style project where we're exploring creativity, style, and identity during the lockdown. So, welcome, Andrea.
Thank you
Tell
very
us.
much, Sandra. Thank you for the invitation.
You're welcome. You're so delighted that you could give us this talk. So, tell us about yourself a little bit and how did you get into singing?
My name, first of all, is Andria Antoniou.
Yeah.
As you said already, I'm a singer, a musician, and a vocal coach based in London for the last 10 years. But I was born and raised in Cyprus, in the little island in the Mediterranean, by a Cypriot dad and a Finnish Swedish mom. And yes, and I moved here to London to study 10 years ago.
Wow, that's amazing. And then you made your whole life in London after that.
Whole life, work, everything, yeah.
That's amazing. I remember in one of our conversations, you told us about a magical trip you did to Cuba. So I'd love you if you could tell us about that experience a little bit.
Yes, it was absolutely amazing, amazing experience. So since I was a little girl, Cuba was for me a fascination with salsa, the dancing, the music, the cigars, the cars, everything. So going there and living the experience in real life was perhaps the most memorable experience I had in my life so far. So I went there with a band that I work with called Clásico Latino to record an album, their new album, Havana Classic, where I appeared as a guest. So apart from us, we also collaborated with some local Cuban musicians on the album. And that collaboration with the locals was for me the highlight of the trip. Just to see how they experience music, how they perform music with their whole bodies. They're so joyful when they play music. It's really as if they breathe in life and they breathe out all the struggles, all the poverty, the difficulties that you can see in Cuba. It's really apparent. You can see it. And for me, when seeing them, it became really clear that music is for them a way to survive. It's their safety haven.
Mm.
So that was a highlight of the trip. And also, listening from every corner in Havana Vieja, the old Havana, listening from every corner, music, people dancing in the roads, the old architecture, the vintage cars, the colors, everything conveys that feeling of sweet nostalgia. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Mhm. Obviously, it had an impact on you because you still remember it so fondly. Um,
Definitely. I think it will always have.
and then another thing that I wanted to ask you with your singing. So how did you get into singing? And tell us a little bit about the variety of work that you do, because you sing in different languages as well. So I'd love you to talk a little bit about that.
So, starting from the very beginning, I grew up in a musical family. My
Yeah,
sister, my older sister, and my older brother are both musicians. My sister is a classical singer and owner of two music schools in Cyprus. And my brother is a flamenco guitarist. He lived
that's
many
amazing.
years in Spain and then moved to
Yeah,
Cyprus. So already, while being very young, I had those different styles of music in my life, in my everyday life. I started taking formal lessons like piano lessons with my sister when I was 6 years old, and then singing. I had classical training first because of my sister being a classical singer, and then gradually I went into modern singing. When I came here, I studied jazz. Then I met with Latin musicians through my dancing as well because I was trained as a Latin dancer. So one occasion brought the other occasion, meeting after meeting. So I ended up being a lot in the Latin jazz scene in London and also Greek music.
that's amazing. That's so rich. That's amazing. So, so Andrea, how has the pandemic then affected the way you work? with gigs, and your voice coach as well. So,
Yeah.
sorry, singing coach. So how did it affect you?
It totally, it affected me in every possible way, as everyone, I suppose. Um, Obviously, all concerts have been cancelled since March.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but luckily, I'm able to teach online. I have all my students, almost all my students online. I also started doing online concerts, which was a very unique experience at the beginning. I had the first one, a pre-recorded performance for a care house, and I have two more coming up on the 16th of June and the 26th of June.
Yeah.
But creatively, it has been really active, really productive period, because there was more time to do things, and we had time to finalize finally the video clip of one of the songs of our album La Negra, and basically we started doing the filming in February, just before the lockdown. So we were so lucky to be able to do it
Yeah.
before it happened. And then with our creative team in different parts of the world, in Greece, here, Cyprus, we made the video clip happen.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy with the result. It was a totally new experience for me. It's my first video clip. Yeah, that was the most important thing I would say that happened in quarantine. Also, with all the time that we have, there's more time to go in depth in practicing and researching new material, but also acquiring new skills like playing a new instrument. For me, it was a guitar.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
trying to
that's so cool.
like the piano, but this guitar was something I wanted to do, and I didn't have the time.
Yeah.
Also learning how to record at home,
Yeah.
and with one of my collaborators, Pablo Scarvalho, we started doing some home recordings, and we released one, and we're going to release more in the next few weeks. So that was a new school for me.
That's
So there
amazing.
were pluses and minuses creatively
Yes.
wise. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I understand. So, so obviously you've, make the most of your free time. Let's say you found a way to be creative. Um, so what, so obviously this is, keep inspiring you and in touch with your identity, I am assuming. So can you tell us about this a little bit? Is this something you do consciously to keep
Try
in
to
touch with
remain
yourself? Yes.
inspired.
Yes.
Yes. There are times, I think, for everyone, that you feel less
Yeah.
inspired, that you feel like you're in stagnation mode. And then there are times that, oh my God, there's so many things I can do, and you feel you have lots of energy. So those ups and downs are normal.
Mm.
For me, what keeps me inspired is being close to nature, noticing the beauty around me. Beauty is perhaps the most important thing, and everyone interprets that differently,
Mhm.
obviously. It can be a beautiful painting, a beautiful song, a beautiful tree. Um, what else keeps me inspired? Listening to music, listening to full albums from beginning to end, understanding the
Yeah.
journey of the artist. Lately, I've become obsessed with vinyls. And that happened actually, the first vinyl that I've heard, funnily enough, was our own with Roman Gomez. So that was the reason I said, no, now it's time to actually get that vinyl player, buy it. And I started collecting, very small collections so far.
Yeah.
And that really is a beautiful experience, because you're just sitting down, you don't skip any track, you don't have the need to react to it as we do on social media. You
Yeah.
just sit there, with your senses and enjoy the music. Um, that's really, really, really inspiring. And I believe that by keeping yourself active and keep growing, keep learning, it's a very important element of being inspired. I liked how you connected the question of how you keep being inspired, and how you keep being how you create your identity, how you try to create your identity, because I believe those two aspects are interconnected. One feeds the other. So I think the more time we spend with ourselves, trying to be inspired, try to understand how we feel and what we need as human beings, as artists, then that leads us to being truer to ourselves, being closer to our needs and our identity. So that, I believe, is what forms our identity as we grow up.
Oh, thank you, Andrea. You are inspiration to us, your audiences and your friends. So thank you so much for talking to us. And can you just let anybody know that where they can hear your amazing voice, where they can find your work? Can you just quickly tell us, if anyone is interested, where they can find you?
Yes. So our album with my collaborator Roman Gomez, the album is called Encuentro. You can find that on Spotify, on Bandcamp, where you can order it physical edition or vinyl. I have lots of videos on my YouTube channel. If you put Andria Antoniou, that's where you're gonna find also our latest video clip, La Negra. And of course on social media, I'm quite active. I put lots of things every week. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Andrea. It's lovely to talk to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.